Have you ever felt so overwhelmed by caregiving that you wondered how much longer you could keep going at the same pace? Like you're barely holding it together while the world demands more and more from you. Today, we're breaking the cycle of burnout and giving you the tools to build emotional resilience because you deserve to thrive and not just survive. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to Radiant Moments, a J&B podcast. I'm Michelle, your host, and I'm so grateful that you're here today. Let's start with a moment just for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're in the middle of a busy day, sitting in quiet reflection, or simply stealing a few moments for yourself, I invite you to pause. Take a deep breath in. Hold for a moment. And exhale slowly. In caregiving, we spend so much time focusing on others that we often forget to check in with ourselves. But today, in this space, let's shift the focus back to you. Caregiving is one of the most rewarding, yet emotionally demanding roles we take on. There are moments of deep connection and fulfillment, but also moments of stress, exhaustion, and self-doubt. The weight of responsibility can feel like a constant pressure, and at times it's easy to feel like you're barely holding it all together. That's why today's episode is so important. We're talking about emotional resilience, how to navigate stress, avoid burnout, and build a foundation of strength that helps you sustain this journey. In our last episode, we explored the power of self-compassion in caregiving. How learning to be kinder to ourselves can transform our caregiving experience. If you haven't listened to the episode yet, I highly recommend going back. It's an essential foundation for today's conversation. And be sure to join me for our next episode, Rediscovering Your Passions as a Caregiver, where we'll talk about reconnecting with your personal identity and the parts of yourself that may have been set aside during this caregiving journey. Before we get started, I want to remind you that you don't have to do this all alone. If you're looking for a free resource to support your journey, check out the free gratitude journal in the episode description or on our website. Now, let's talk about emotional resilience, what it is, why it matters, and how you can strengthen yours starting today. Emotional resilience is the ability to adapt to stress, recover from setbacks, and continue forward with strength and purpose. It doesn't mean you won't feel overwhelmed, frustrated, or even completely drained at times. It means that when these moments come, you have the tools to move through them instead of being consumed by them. However, let's be honest, building resilience isn't easy. For many caregivers, it feels like we're expected to handle everything without a break, to push through exhaustion, to put ourselves last, because there's always something or someone who needs our attention. We tell ourselves, "I'll rest later." Honestly, later rarely comes. The reality is, resilience isn't about enduring more. It's about learning how to carry the load differently. Why emotional resilience is essential for caregivers? Well, it prevents burnout. Caregiving is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Without resilience, exhaustion builds up over time until you feel like you're running on fumes. Emotional resilience helps you sustain your energy so that you can continue showing up without depleting yourself completely. It allows you to show up fully for your loved one. We often feel like we have to power through for the sake of those we care for, but we can't pour from an empty cup. When you prioritize your emotional health, you're not taking away from your loved one. You're actually making sure that you can be present for them in the best way possible. It gives you the tools to handle unexpected challenges. Caregiving is unpredictable. Medical emergency, changes in routine, and difficult days are inevitable. Resilience doesn't make those challenges disappear, but it does help you move through them with greater ease, clarity, and strength. However, here's the challenge. Resilience isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. And it starts small, with intentional choices that allow you to care for your emotional, mental, and physical well-being. The hard truth about emotional resilience. Let's be real, there was probably a time in your caregiving journey when you felt like you couldn't take one more thing. When the exhaustion was so deep, it made your bones ache. When the stress built up so much that even small decisions felt overwhelming and at times monumental. Maybe you've felt like you're always in survival mode, just trying to make it through the next task, the next appointment, the next challenge. Like there's no space for your own emotions because everyone else's needs to come first. Like you're trapped in a cycle of exhaustion, guilt, and stress. If this resonates with you, I want you to hear this. You are not alone, and the fact that you feel this way doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're human, just like me. Resilience isn't about avoiding stress. It's about learning how to navigate it differently. So today, let's talk about how to start building the resilience you need to move through stress without losing yourself in the process. Because you deserve to thrive and not just survive. Understanding why caregivers lose themselves in the journey is just the first step. Now that we've shed light on why it happens, let's take a deeper dive into what it really feels like to reach that breaking point. Sometimes it takes a pivotal moment to realize just how far you've drifted from yourself. I want to share a personal story that captures this experience because it's one that many of us can relate to. Every now and then, there are moments in caregiving that push you past what you thought was your limit. Moments where the weight of responsibility feels so heavy that even breathing becomes an afterthought. I remember one of those times vividly, being in the hospital with my loved one, feeling like I was running on autopilot. Everything revolved around them, their health, their comfort, their care. Hours passed where I forgot to eat. I forgot to drink water, and the stress had my heart pounding so hard that I was sure others could hear it. Hospital stays were never just about the medical issues at hand. They were about managing multiple personalities, navigating difficult work ethics, and advocating fiercely to ensure my loved one received the care they needed. I was hyper aware of the small mistakes, the forgotten details, the moments that could easily slip through the cracks if I wasn't there watching. I felt like I had to be on 24/7 because if I wasn't, who would be? At the same time, my mind was in two places at once. While I sat in the hospital, I was also thinking about home, the schedules that still had to run, the people who needed me, the routines that had been thrown off. I felt guilty for not being there. Guilty for not being enough in both places at once. I kept telling myself, I'll catch up once I'm home. But what I didn't realize was that there was no catching up. The moment we walked through the front door, I was met with a new level of chaos. The house had been running without me, and now it needed structure again. Laundry had piled up. The fridge was half empty. My family needed connection and normalcy, but I was too drained to provide it. And the worst part, I still wasn't acknowledging the toll it was taking on me. The exhaustion wasn't just emotional anymore, it became physical. I started experiencing headaches, muscle tension, bleeding gums, stomach upset, and a constant sense of fatigue that even sleep couldn't fix, which are just a few of the physical manifestations of ignoring my basic needs. I had nothing left to give, yet I kept trying to push through. It took one particularly hard day, a day where I sat in my car, unable to bring myself to get out, unable to face another round of giving without replenishing, to realize something had to change. So I reached out for help. I started working with a professional who helped me understand that resilience wasn't about enduring more. It was about navigating stress differently. I began practicing mindfulness techniques, learning how to create moments of calm even in the middle of chaos. I stopped telling myself I'll rest when things settle down, because things never settled down on their own. I had to be the one to create those moments of stillness, the one to reclaim my energy before I ran myself into the ground. I started small, taking deep breaths before stepping into stressful moments, grounding myself before reacting to them, pausing to recognize what I could control instead of fixating on what I couldn't, allowing myself to feel my emotions without guilt, reminding myself that my exhaustion was valid, giving myself permission to rest, not as a luxury, but as a necessity. Over time, I built emotional resilience, not by eliminating stress, by learning how to move through it with more ease and self-compassion. I still have hard days, but now I meet them with a different mindset. I remind myself, I am allowed to care for myself just as fiercely as I care for my loved one. And I want you to know you are too. You are not alone in this journey, and you don't have to carry the weight of caregiving without also making space for yourself. Because the strongest caregivers aren't the ones who never break. They're the ones who learn how to bend, how to pause, and then how to rebuild. And you are stronger than you know. I want you to know that the moment of realization was powerful. It was a wake-up call I didn't know I needed. But knowing you've lost yourself is one thing. Taking steps to build emotional resilience is another. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. And in fact, let's look at the little changes we can make so that we can break the cycle of overwhelm. Overwhelm feels like drowning in responsibilities with no way out. It's that moment when everything feels urgent, every decision feels too big. Exhaustion becomes your default state. Sounding familiar? The truth is, most caregivers experience this at some point across their journey. The to-do list that never ends. There's always another meal to prepare, another appointment to schedule, another appointment to attend, another challenge to navigate. However, here's the shift. Overwhelm doesn't come from having too much to do. It comes from feeling like you have no control over any of it. So how do we break the cycle? By pausing, regaining clarity, and focusing on what we can control. There are 3 steps to reset when overwhelm hits. Step 1, you need to recognize the signs. Are you constantly exhausted, irritable, or feeling like even the smallest task is impossible? Do you find yourself zoning out, procrastinating, or feeling paralyzed by decisions? Is your inner dialogue full of "I should be doing more" or "I can keep up"? Step 2 is to breathe and pause. When you feel like pressure is rising, take one intentional pause. Even just 1 minute can create space to reset. Close your eyes, take 3 slow, deep breaths, and silently remind yourself, I am allowed to pause. Step 3, identify what's within your control. Instead of trying to tackle everything at once, ask yourself, what is one thing I can do right now to make this moment easier? Can you ask for help? Can you set a boundary? Can you prioritize the next best step rather than trying to fix everything at once? When overwhelm takes over, the answer is not to push through harder. It's to pause, breathe, and take one small step forward. Because resilience isn't built in grand gestures. It's built in small, intentional choices that bring us back to the present moment. Now that we've talked about how to manage the feelings of overwhelm, let's talk about how to shift your mindset and let go of the heaviness. Mindfulness is a powerful tool for strengthening emotional resilience because it trains your brain to stay present rather than spiraling into stress and anxiety. Here are 3 simple mindfulness techniques you can incorporate into your caregiving routine. Number 1 is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique for moments of high stress or panic. 5 things you see, 4 things you feel, your hands on a surface, feet on the ground. 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This pulls your attention away from stress and back into the present moment. Number 2 is the 1-minute reset. When everything feels too much, stop and take a 60-second break. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and exhale for 6 seconds. And repeat while silently saying, I am present, I am strong, and I can handle this. Number 3, the caregiver gratitude shift. Before bed, write down 1 moment of gratitude from the day. It could be a smile from your loved one, a moment of laughter, or a kind word from a friend. Guilt can be such a heavy burden, but choosing to reframe it and embrace self-care makes a world of difference. Now that we've talked about how to shift your mindset, let's take it a step further. It's time to put into action with a simple and meaningful challenge that will help you reconnect with yourself. This week, I challenge you to practice 1 small act that strengthens your emotional resilience. Choose 1 mindfulness technique from today's episode and try it for a few minutes each day. The next time you feel overwhelmed, pause and take 3 deep breaths. Before bed, write down 1 small moment of gratitude from your day. I'd love you to tell me in the comments or message me directly what's 1 way you'll strengthen your resilience this week. Let's support each other. If you need extra support, you can download your free gratitude journal to start shifting your mindset. You can also join the J&B Oasis membership and community waitlist for deeper connection and resources. Or you can try our 90-second reset program, a powerful tool to help you reset in moments of overwhelm. You can find all of the links in the show notes below. Thank you for joining me on Radiant Moments, a J&B podcast. I hope today's episode has given you insight and tools to build emotional resilience and navigate stress with more confidence. In our next episode, we'll be talking about rediscovering your passion as a caregiver, how to reconnect with your personal identity outside of caregiving. You won't want to miss the next episode. Until next time, stay radiant, stay empowered, and keep shining your light bright.